This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for December 17th, 2019. Q's just about flat, SPY just about flat. Really small range, narrow range day today on the Q's and SPY. You can see today's bar, just a little tiny bar. Was able to poke above, just make a new high there, new all-time high on the Q's and SPY. Okay, so we've been bullish ever since the hourly did not follow through. So it's been about a week and a half now, straight bullish bias, no real wavering from that ever since that attempt to roll over failed. And so we are going to be going into tomorrow with a bullish bias unless we take out today's low. So it won't really take much, but that's not going to turn us bearish, okay? Now the reason that we're getting pretty tight on this bullish bias is just because we are extended up here, multiple days up, right? So the likelihood of a pullback is higher. Our line in the sand for that is going to be underneath today's low. Okay, on top of that, we have potentially a breakout failure right here, right? Tried to go higher, didn't really find enough buyers to support this move higher, and then potentially underneath that, right, underneath today's low, we may get more of a pullback. It's going to be hard to be bearish though, because we are still bullish on the daily, bullish on the weekly, and bullish on the monthly. Okay, so it's not gonna be the kind of thing where we can say, yep, that's the top, let's all be bearish, right? Can expect a pullback, more of a neutral bias going into tomorrow if we break that base, or maybe we do it on Thursday or Friday or sometime next week, right? I don't think we'll stay that tight. But still, for now, going into tomorrow, still going to be bullish on the Qs and SPY. Okay, so if we get that break, a little bit more of a neutral bias, expect us to pull back in, but by no means would I call it bearish on the market. Okay, so there's some little things here that are kind of cluing us into a potential pullback here, and maybe it might just be hours or days of a pullback, not even like a sustained pullback, because of how bullish the weekly and the monthly are. And so what we're kind of looking at, okay, there's a little bit of a breakout failure there. We're setting up a base. We've had a nice move on the daily, so there are just a couple things kind of leaning in that direction, but we definitely, as trend followers, don't have a downtrend to follow by any means. So it's more just kind of recognizing kind of a couple things there that are kind of nudging us in the direction that, okay, maybe just for a couple hours, or maybe just for a day, a quick pullback. Okay. All right. So let's go over today's play, right? Tomorrow, just to summarize, going to be bullish on the market. We break underneath today's low. We're going to be a little bit more neutral to see how much of a pullback we get. All right. Only one play from me today officially called, and that was the TME. We played a base breakout here on the intraday. Okay. Starting with what was the strategy here. We had a pro gap. Okay. Pro gap, meaning we're gapping against the short-term trend. So we're looking to play in the direction of the gap, along the lines of the gap, along the lines of the trend. We played this breakout, couldn't quite get to target, and then ended up coming in. So this play did not follow through, did not work. Now, I got a question yesterday about how do I get better about taking my stops or taking my losses, getting out when the play is telling me I'm not going to be in it. Because to me, right, we had our stop right here under 1225. Okay, once that breaks, it's no longer in an uptrend. It has been damaged, right? And so I did have some people ask, when can we get back in this? And I think there was, after basing for a bit, could have played that. But for me, the uptrend was no longer intact here, right? This is the uptrend that I was looking to follow through there, see how much we could get as we follow through on the daily on this pro gap. Maybe even the larger time frames had bottomed here, right? Even though, clearly he's been in an all-out downtrend, right? So just trying to get that thing to kind of get going, trend change on the daily, but was a very nice uptrend so far in the morning. Now, the question is, how do I get better about taking my stops? Now, the person kind of phrased it like, I'm too slow about taking my stops. And so, I without actually looking at their trades and looking at what is going on, my guess is that they don't want to admit that the play's not working. Okay. So they don't want that unrealized loss to actually become a realized loss. And so what happens is, right, is people, okay, so it takes out the stop and get rid of your order if you had one, and you just think, okay, maybe it'll bounce from here. And then it bounces a little bit and you think, okay, I'm glad that I didn't have my stop in the system. And then you see this red bar and you think, okay, I hope it bounces from here. I hope it bounces from here. It doesn't. And now you're looking at what should have been a 1-hour loss, looking at a 2-hour loss. You're thinking, man, I hope it bounces. I hope it bounces. Maybe you finally decide, I can't take it anymore. You get out, right? You take your loss, and then next thing you know, it stabilizes, doesn't go down anymore, right? And after all of that, that maybe isn't inherently a problem. Now, sometimes they will become a big, big problem, right? And that in itself should tell us we should take our stops. But the big thing I think that people are not aware of is that you are missing out on other opportunities as you're babysitting this thing, staring at it, living and dying by every little move up and move down. You're missing on another play. Now, if you were in the room also, right afterwards, this DAR triggered. Breakout. This is the kind of thing, if you had gotten it, get to be in it till the end of the day, because the 65-minute never gets broken there, right? And if you're too busy watching this thing, trying to see, okay, how much pain am I willing to take, right, that you end up wasting your whole day, and you could have just moved on to something else. Now, this could set up another setup, and then you can play that, right? And I think the fear is people just don't want to take that realized loss. Now, if the issue is that you take the play and it stops out before you can even react, then your stop is probably too tight. Now, it will happen that maybe you just get a strong reversal against you, but it really shouldn't happen all that often. So, like, if you just maybe played it and then, you got in and immediately you just went like 2-minute bar by bar immediately or something, or that was the way you sized it or something like that, okay, then use a bigger stop. If the issue is that you're down more money than you can tolerate before you can even decide to get out, then you're probably trading too big a size and trading too tight a stop, okay? That shouldn't be happening all that often. Barely ever should it be the case, okay? So, when someone says, oh, I'm too slow at taking my stop, what I think that probably means is that there's a lot of hesitation on whether to take the stop or not. You're thinking, oh, but what if it comes back? What if it bounces? Maybe I can just hold it overnight and it'll recover. That kind of stuff is a very, very slippery slope, and I think needs to be sorted out before you start taking any trades with kind of significant dollar amount. Okay, so because it only takes one to erase many, many good winners. One trade that you just can't take the stop, continues to go down, continues to cause you pain, and then eventually till you can't take it anymore, maybe you jump out. Okay, so if you have to just put the stop in the system and move on to something else, watch something else, or even just have it there, then that may be something you want to consider, because if you always leave it up in your own hands and you have a hard time taking that loss, taking that first loss and only letting it become a worse loss, right, then you're gonna have to figure out something else to kind of take that out of your hands and kind of force yourself to be a little bit more disciplined. Okay, so I took that question, it could have meant two things. One, you have a problem admitting you're wrong on a play, and then or you actually are getting stopped out really, really fast, in which case you're probably just playing it way too tight. either way, right? I think those issues can be fixed. So that's the good thing. They can be worked on. They can be fixed. Okay. So hopefully that's not an issue for you, or if it is, maybe some ideas there on how to fix it. Okay. All right. So going into tomorrow, bullish bias, going to go neutral. If we break under today's low here, expecting a little bit of a pullback, could last for hours or maybe a day or two or something. It's just overall still going to be a bullish bias going into tomorrow. All right. All right. Hope you did well today. All right. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Hope you have a nice evening. Good night, all.